He also didn't want to give up on his dreams and stay back for my sake, so after months of thinking about this, he decided to go by himself and take the leap alone. He didn't want some long-drawn goodbye or even a discussion about this, which is why he decided to leave as quickly as he could. He apologized, said that he was sure I'd find someone better than him and he was sorry that it had to end this way. But his dreams were too important for him to give up on. I really didn't have a problem with his dreams or whatever, but I just wished that he would have at least discussed things with me before making the move and accepting the offer all those years ago. I have always been an architect and my only motive to work was to earn money and be able to buy myself everything that I wanted, so I never had any such noble intentions of bringing about change in the world or doing something good for society. I was pretty selfish in my interests, which is why I guess I didn't understand his priorities. Or maybe I was just a normal person who knew how important communication was and understood that you shouldn't lie to your fiancé and then dump them through text a week before the wedding. But either way, after we broke up we didn't keep in touch obviously, and all our friends cut him off as well. He and I had been great while we were together and the breakup had literally come out of nowhere, so even though I tried to be okay with it I really wasn't, and I completely broke down in the few weeks following the breakup. Felix paid off all the vendors for the wedding, as an apology, and I didn't have to spend a dime on anything. So I didn't have any reason to talk to him either, and our last conversation ended up being the breakup, which I'd go through almost every day after he left. We had been living together for quite some time before he moved away, and a few weeks after he broke up with me, his cousin Sam, 32M, came by to pick up his belongings since he had left a lot of things behind because he didn't want to make me suspicious. I'd met Sam before at a couple of his family get-togethers, but we weren't close and neither were Sam and Felix close, but apparently nobody else from the family was talking to him and he'd offered Sam $2,000 to have his stuff sent to him. Sam was a guitarist in a band that was still struggling to make a name for itself and he needed the money, so he accepted the offer to get the job done. When Sam came over to the house to gather the last of Felix's belongings, I stayed out of his way, but I think I must have looked really depressed. So instead of just taking the things and leaving, he decided to stay with me for a while and talk to me. I wasn't feeling very talkative, but he didn't leave until I had told him everything about how I was feeling. And once I started, I just couldn't stop. It was embarrassing, but I ended up crying in front of him and he comforted me throughout. He let me cry all my feelings out and then he told me that I had to be strong. He also said that Felix was an idiot and he didn't know what he had lost, which made me feel considerably better about myself. Because Felix's leaving had completely shattered my self-worth and confidence. That day, he even gave me his number and told me to contact him anytime I felt like I wanted somebody to talk to, and then hugged me goodbye. It was a really sweet thing for him to do, even though he had no reason to. He was just there to gather his cousin's things and it wasn't even like we were close. But he still seemed to care about me, and that's what really touched me about him. We stayed in touch and we ended up becoming really good friends in a couple of months. He was actually the one who helped me feel happy again, and I don't think I could have recovered from that heartbreak had Sam not been with me every step of the way. He would convince me to leave my house, go to work and even hang out with my friends on the weekends instead of sitting at home and moping or drinking. But he would also understand when I just had to take some time for myself and would come over on those days and just silently be there with me. I didn't even realize when I fell in love with him over time and he started spending more and more time at my place instead of his own. Someday, 2 years ago, he came to my house and then never left. So that's how we ended up moving in together, and even though most people would say that it was weird and rushed, I wouldn't say that because I really do love him and we're even married now, so I think we're meant to last. We moved in together and eventually, at the beginning of this year, we decided that it was time that we get married because of several practical and legal benefits. It was a small and intimate ceremony that not a lot of people knew of, and that's exactly how we wanted it. Everybody in his family and all my friends had been told not to divulge any of this information to Felix. We didn't want him to get to know about any of this because he would definitely find it really weird that I was getting married to his cousin, and I honestly didn't want to deal with the drama. So everybody had been given strict instructions to hide this from him. Even Felix's parents had been invited to the ceremony since they had been really nice to me even after our breakup, and they had blessed our union. They'd also promised me that they would keep this a secret from Felix, but I'd been doubtful since they had been in touch with him and had forgiven him within a couple of months of our breakup. I didn't hold that against them, he was their only son after all. But, thankfully, everybody stuck to their promises, including his parents, and made sure that Felix didn't find out about our marriage. It's been a few months and it's been marital and domestic bliss for me and Sam, and I found out that Felix was right when he said that I had somebody better in store for me. Everything had been going well, but then, last week, Felix showed up at my doorstep out of the blue. And it really took me by shock because I hadn't been expecting him. We hadn't spoken ever since our breakup, and it had been 3 years since then. After that, he hadn't bothered to talk to me or check up on how I was doing, and I never reached out to him either. He had come back to visit home for the holidays a couple of times, which is what some of our common friends told me. But we hadn't met, and neither had he met any of our friends. However, this time, he decided to come talk to me, and instead of contacting me and setting up a meeting with me like a normal person, he showed up at my door with a bouquet.